Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. NBA Wednesday, going to be looking at this slate with you guys here. I've got 6 player prop projections that I'm looking at here. Strong leans, but we still have some news coming out in the NBA. So can't give the official picks out. Those are going to be in the VIP Discord. We'll pin some of those in a comment on this video as well. Quick look at how we did the other day. Didn't have a video yesterday, but on Monday did very well. Went 4-1, up more than 3 units. We are climbing, baby. We are at 12 units on the season now. So if you do want to make sure you get every single pick that I'm making, jump into that VIP Discord. For now, let's go ahead and get right into it. Quick reminder for you guys, going to have the live show today, as we do every weekday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. You guys bring your bets, jump in the comments. We go over that stuff together, give you some of the final plays that I've got. Again, if you do want to get everything you need from me in the VIP Discord, head to the link in the description of the video. Get 40% off on the NBA Season Pass if you're interested right now. Let's talk about Vooch. This is getting ridiculous. This man cannot miss. He just had 29 against the Detroit Pistons. He was, 6 for 8 from deep against the Pistons. He's averaging 20.7 points per game. Not the craziest thing in the world, but it's the efficiency that he's playing with at about 60% field goal percentage and a 46% three-point percentage. Getting pretty crazy, but it's not yet time to fade him because this is a good matchup against the Bucks drop coverage defense. So Brolo, when those screens are run up top, is not going to be hedging on Vooch. He's going to be dropping down to avoid the ball handler who's in the pick and roll with Vooch, probably Kobe White or Zach LaVine. He's going to take those guys and try to defend them if they come into the paint. Vooch is going to be left open on the three-point line. It's happened to him every time he plays this team. It happens to him against teams that play like Brolo and the Bucks want to play defense. So that's why he's gone over in 6 of his last 8 games, hitting at least 2 threes versus a Brolo played defense for the Milwaukee Bucks. The three-point stuff is going to drop at some point. I'm just not banking on it on this game. And even if it doesn't shoot at 40%, I think he takes 6+ threes, which is something that he's done in 5 of those last 8 games against Brolo, is take at least 6 threes. So I think that's going to be the case here again. If you project him to shoot 6 to 7 threes, why would you not take this incredible value at about plus 115? Because he's better than a 33% three-point shooter. That's all he needs to make if he goes 2 for 6 from the three-point line in this one. So with the volume there for him in this game, I'm going to like him to hit another 2 threes. I think the points are good. I even think the assists are good. He has a really high assist percentage this season. Just really impressed with how Vooch is playing in this new offense. That's a lot more pace and space than it was with DeMar DeRozan. One more guy to look at in this game, Kobe White. I do think he's probably a better play than Zach LaVine. I haven't bet him mostly because it's a pretty high number for him, 20.5. It's right on. It's probably a fair number for him, but he probably gets a little bit of bump by playing against Dame Lillard. So if you win the matchup that is Dame Lillard against you, you're probably in a good place to score some points. Look at that last Houston game where we targeted Fred VanVleet for the threes. He shot horribly. He only made 3 of them, but he shot 11 of them. And that's what I see for Kobe White is sort of that smaller off-ball guard because Josh Giddey is the point guard. Zach LaVine's got a few more touches as well. So Kobe White's definitely playing off ball, right? And if you're playing off ball and Dame is the guy guarding you off ball, you're probably in line for some really good looks. So I think Kobe White's probably going to be taking 8 to 10 threes, similar to what we saw from Fred VanVleet, where other guys are going to be dominating the ball. The Bucks have gotten better at dealing with the ball handler this year and forcing the ball out of his hands, but they're really bad against spot up still on the season, bottom 5. So we really like a spot up shooter like Kobe White to do his thing. Zach LaVine a little bit more off the dribble than is Kobe White. And I think Josh Giddey assists, still a look. Problem with him is sometimes he gets pulled because his defense is terrible, and if he's getting chewed up by this Bucks offense, we're going to be in trouble. But that said, there's no shortage of shooters on the floor at this point for the Bulls alongside Giddey. So if he gets the 25 to 28 minutes, I think he's good for 6 assists in this one too. Let's run it back. Cat hooked us at 36.5 PR last time in a complete monster blowout against the Wizards. Now he's got the Suns, who I don't have much respect for, especially without KD and Beal. That's why I don't have respect for them right now. They just lost a bunch of games, and they're not doing anything down low, especially with Nurk, who we'll talk about in a minute. So Cat, I'm going to go right back to it, honestly, for the points and rebounds. 31.5 points per game, still 12 boards per game in his last 6. Dominating, all down low. It's his paint, essentially. And he's hitting a couple threes, but it's him going to the rim that I really like, especially against Nurk. And this Phoenix team is terrible, down low. His usage rate is super high. His individual offensive rating is incredible. And his rebound chances are almost at 20 per game as well. So unless he plays like 30 minutes, because this game is over in the first half, which I don't think it will be, We're going to see him have some success tonight. I'm very confident. We're also talking about a guy who's going up against a team that's bad against the centers and power forwards, and we just saw that against Julius Randle. Say what you will about the motivation to dominate the same Phoenix team that Julius Randle just had 35 points against, but there's probably some added motivation as these two teams and the Wolves and the Knicks are so tied together because of that trade. So I'm going to bank on Cat bringing it against the Suns tonight. At the same time, I think Nurkic is unplayable in part because Cat is going to be so good, but he's been unplayable in general without KD and Beal out there. His sort of inefficiencies, deficiencies, if you will, those are becoming much more obvious. They're very glaring at this point. He's not finishing around the rim. He's not stopping anybody else from finishing around the rim. He's turning the ball over. Can't make shots. He's averaging 3 points a game in his last 4. We've been out without Beal and KD now for 4 games straight. 20 minutes a game, which has dropped down twice. He's now played 15 minutes or less in the last 4 games. 3 points per game, 8.3 boards. Mason Plumlee being there and playing a lot better than him is a big part of this. I think Plumlee's going to get more minutes. We don't have any looks right now for him, but they've been playing both of them together. They've been starting Plumlee and they've been starting Yusuf Nurkic alongside each other. If Plumlee's good to go tonight, which I believe he still is, we just don't have props up yet because Nurk is a for sure starter, and we're waiting to see what the official lineup is for the Phoenix Suns. But I think Plumlee gets in there for more minutes than Nurk anyway. He's a much better versatile defender against a guy like Cat who can step outside to the 3-point line and just put Nurk in a completely uncomfortable spot. We know he doesn't want to have to go all the way out there either. And as far as the rebounds go, that's the only thing he's been doing, even in his limited minutes. But this team right now, with Cat averaging more than 12 boards per game on the season, this is a top rebounding team in the league and is limiting the opposing center to the fewest rebounds per game on the season. So he's not scoring or getting opportunities. He's rebounding decently well, but not against this team. So I don't know how he gets his points and rebounds. It's at about 16, like the under for Nurk tonight. Got the Dubs hosting the Atlanta Hawks tonight, and I think this is a spot for Buddy Hield. I will say before I get into some of the Hield stuff, which is based on D'Anthony Melton not being around tonight and might not be around for a little while, which kind of sucks for the Dubs because they put him in the starting lineup and it was looking like a really solid starting lineup with Buddy coming off the bench. And I think Buddy probably still comes off the bench. That's what he's been doing. Steve Kerr trusts him a lot and he loves to put him out there in the second unit as a guy that he trusts with the ball in his hands, which is weird to say because we've always thought about Buddy as like Shaq and a fool. But in reality, this year on this team, very responsible with the ball. Steph is a guy that you should be looking at as well, not just because it's Steph Curry, but the last 4 games against the Hawks and Trae Young, he's averaging like 38 a game. He's gone over 30 in all of them. I'll be taking a look at Steph a little bit more closely too. But at 14.5 points for Buddy Hield with D'Anthony Melton out, we've got really good edge here. So 28 minutes is kind of the key. He's played 28.5 without Melton this season. That's 7 games without Melton. 6 of those he's gone over, averaging 20 a game, essentially 19.6 points. The one under, a really good defense in the Clippers, top 10 in that category. The Hawks are not. The Hawks are bottom 5 in defense, 24th versus the spot up, which is very important for Buddy. But he's been getting out in transition and scoring a few more points off of 2-pointers than we are normally used to for Buddy Hield. Still, looking at 7 to 8 to 9 3-point attempts for him tonight. If he takes 7, makes 2 or 3, I really like him to get the points tonight at 15. So I'm going to take him as a really good shooter against an awful defense. I think Steph is going to see a good amount of Dyson Daniels on him, which means when Buddy's out there with Steph, he's going to have a much easier defensive matchup. We've also got Jalen Johnson for the Hawks, questionable, another huge defender, both on the wing and down low for them. So I think Buddy and company are going to have a little bit more success on offense without some of the guys that are, well, if Jalen Johnson sits, but even if he doesn't, I still think they're going to do fine against the 3rd worst defense. We'll call them the 3rd worst, even though in reality, they might just be the worst. If you're paying attention to this Pelicans team, there's nobody left. So they're already without both Murrays, DJ Murray, CJ Murray, Zion Williams, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy III. Now they're also without Brandon Ingram tonight. They were already without Jose Alvarado. They were already without Jordan Hawkins. Oh, and now they're also without Jalen Noel tonight. Jalen Noel is somebody that they're now going to have to worry about not playing because they don't have anybody to break down the other team defense off the dribble. Like, this is it. This is the dude. It's Brandon Boston. So my points, rebounds, assists, whatever you want. Brandon Boston is going to be playing 38 minutes tonight. He's going to be the dude with the ball in his hands the most. He's probably going to take the most shots. You've got a starting lineup that's going to include him, Javonte Green, Yves Missi, JRE, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, and Trey Jemison, former backup for the Grizzlies, who I'm very confident very few people have heard of. If you've heard of Jeremiah Robinson Earl, good job. You're in the top half percentile. Like, there's nobody here for this team anymore. Don't know what Brandon Boston's stuff's going to be at. My projection for him will probably be about 20.5 points per game, or points in this game, about 6.5, 5.5 assists, and about 4.5 boards. I think we're going to get value on all of it. If you don't want to take the points because you think that this Cleveland defense can key in on Brandon Boston and really force the ball out of his hands, fine. I think the rebounds and assists are a great look as well. He's going to get a ton of usage. Yves Misty is going to have his hands full down low. I don't even know what they're going to do anymore, man. They're going to be playing a bunch of dudes that I've barely heard of, and it's my job to know pretty much every player in the NBA. So that's where we're at with the Pelicans. They have basically 2 full lineups of starting NBA rotations on the bench, right? That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players. That's nearly 2 full lineups that I would say with all 9 of these players, you could definitely make 2 legitimate NBA starting lineups. You have at least one playoff team that's on the bench at this point with injury. So somebody's going to have to do something, and Brandon Boston's at this point the best player on this team. One last reminder, outlier.bet, one of the best tools around out there, really good for the price as well. I've got 7 days free trial available for you. If you want to jump into the description of the video, grab the link in there for outlier.bet, get 7 free days. See if it's worth it for you. It's worth it for me, and everybody that I know in the Discord right now is showing their outlier.bet plays as well because they find a lot of value using this platform. So go ahead and jump in the description of the video for all that. I'm going to be back with the live show today, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So hope to see y'all there. And until I do, happy betting.